When Disney announced their live-action remake of Snow White, expectations were cautiously optimistic. After all, Disney is renowned for their ability to rekindle nostalgia while introducing classic tales to new generations. Yet upon release, audiences and critics alike found themselves deeply disappointed. More than just disappointed, they were baffled. What was supposed to be a magical retelling of a beloved fairy tale instead became one of the most spectacular failures in recent cinematic history. From the moment the film hit theaters, reactions were mercilessly critical. With an astonishingly low IMDb rating of 1.5 out of 10, Disney's Snow White didn't just flop, it crashed in spectacular fashion, making even infamous films like The Human Centipede appear comparatively well received. Audiences found themselves enduring a film filled with unsettling CGI visuals and musical numbers that faded from memory as soon as they ended. Many joked online that the film served better as a place to nap in peace rather than as entertainment. Central to the controversy was Disney's casting choice of Rachel Zegler as Snow White. While undeniably talented and vocally gifted, Zegler proved divisive from the outset. Critics argued that she lacked the warmth and innocence traditionally associated with Disney princesses, a criticism that echoed frequently in online forums and media reviews alike. Viewers expecting the charming grace of classic Disney royalty found instead an actress who, despite her significant talent, seemed fundamentally miscast. Adding fuel to the fire, Rachel herself became a polarizing figure long before the movie's release. Her pre-release interviews often carried an air of disdain for the very material she was representing. Initially, she criticized the classic animated version's romantic storyline, dismissing it as outdated and even labeling Snow White's original love interest as creepy or a stalker. These comments instantly alienated a substantial portion of Disney's loyal fan base, who viewed her statements not as progressive critiques but as disrespectful to the beloved source material. After facing backlash, Zegler abruptly changed her stance, praising the original animated film as a monumental achievement that had paved the way for modern cinema and even her own career. However, the damage had been done. Audiences were left confused, seeing her sudden pivot as inauthentic and opportunistic rather than genuine. Compounding her problematic relationship with fans were Rachel's statements regarding criticism itself. In various interviews, she often dismissed online critics as anonymous trolls who were simply having a bad day. Though meant to empower, these remarks unintentionally came across as condescending, subtly suggesting her fame placed her above the opinions of ordinary viewers. This attitude is reminiscent of incidents from other celebrities who've similarly misjudged audience reactions, notably NBA star LeBron James. Years earlier, James made headlines for dismissing his critics by boasting about his superior lifestyle and success, causing fans to perceive him as arrogant rather than relatable. This type of defensive, superior posture toward fans is becoming alarmingly common among celebrities. Disney actors, in particular, seem prone to viewing criticism not as valuable feedback but as hostile attacks. Star Wars actor John Boyega similarly accused fans of racism when his character failed to resonate, despite considerable initial excitement for his casting. Boyega's accusations drew parallels to Rachel's handling of criticism. Both deflected valid critique by shifting blame onto external factors: race, gender, or political affiliation, instead of examining their own roles or acknowledging the audience's legitimate disappointment. Boyega's statements suggested that Star Wars fans were resistant to diversity, ignoring the success of beloved characters like Lando Calrissian and Mace Windu. Fans argued their grievances were about storytelling, character development, and narrative consistency, not racial prejudice. Boyega's reaction, like Zegler's, seemed to ignore genuine fan concerns, misrepresenting frustration over poor writing and character arcs as something malicious and prejudiced. Ultimately, it alienated rather than endeared them to their audiences. This adversarial relationship between stars and fans is becoming a troubling norm in Hollywood. The film industry, increasingly sensitive to societal pressures and political correctness, often mishandles criticism, mistaking valid concerns for bigotry or ignorance. But successful franchises and actors typically avoid this pitfall. Tom Cruise and Keanu Reeves, for instance, remain beloved precisely because they keep their personal politics separate from their professional work. They focus entirely on entertainment and storytelling, recognizing that audiences seek escapism rather than moral lectures or virtue signaling. Cruise, despite potential personal controversies, never openly berates audiences who criticize his movies. Reeves, equally humble, never retaliates against critics, even when his films, such as The Matrix Resurrections, face harsh judgment. Both understand a fundamental truth about entertainment. Audiences respect humility and authenticity far more than defensive posturing. Indeed, successful films like Top Gun, Maverick, and John Wick 4 illustrate this clearly. Their triumph at the box office occurred precisely because they delivered pure entertainment, respecting audiences rather than chastising them for differing opinions. These films prove that moviegoers value storytelling and engaging experiences far above political messaging or moral superiority. Disney, meanwhile, continues to miss this vital lesson. Their recent live-action remakes frequently feel like platforms for pushing agendas rather than retelling beloved stories. Rachel Zegler's Snow White was no exception. Its failure wasn't simply about bad CGI or forgettable songs. It was about Disney's deeper disconnect with its core audience. Rachel Zegler's outspoken views on topics like politics, feminism, and social issues further compounded her problematic image. Her social media history, including provocative statements directed at groups with opposing views, reinforced a perception that Disney stars are increasingly disconnected from mainstream audiences. Instead of fostering dialogue or welcoming criticism, her actions painted her as someone who viewed certain audience segments with hostility or disdain. Her comments about Trump supporters and inflammatory social media posts only widened the gap between her and potential viewers. This dynamic has become a consistent problem for Disney. They cast talented but divisive actors who frequently seem disdainful of the franchises and audiences they're meant to represent. It's as if they're deliberately hiring individuals opposed to the very communities that once passionately supported their properties. This phenomenon is akin to placing an atheist as the frontman of a Christian band, then expressing shock when fans abandon the group. At its core, Disney's latest Snow White is symptomatic of a broader issue: Hollywood's ongoing misunderstanding of its audience. Movie stars today, empowered by social media and surrounded by echo chambers, frequently mistake legitimate criticism for personal attacks. Rather than acknowledge faults or improve content, they resort to defensiveness and accusations, alienating fans further. For Disney to reverse this troubling trend, they must recognize that audiences primarily seek engaging stories told authentically, without political undertones or divisive rhetoric. Successful films don't insult or lecture viewers. They entertain, inspire, and unite. Actors who remain humble, approachable, and respectful invariably attract larger audiences and foster lasting loyalty. Ultimately, the failure of Snow White wasn't merely about bad CGI or casting controversies. It was about Disney losing touch with the core reasons people attend movies: to be entertained, not preached to. Until they acknowledge this simple truth, Disney's live-action endeavors will continue to disappoint audiences, both financially and emotionally, losing billions in potential revenue. Hollywood needs to relearn the simple magic of storytelling, where respect for the audience and humility in the spotlight are paramount. Only then can it reclaim the genuine enchantment that once defined its greatest successes.